one area here, currently, in geography, working at an E. Now, that's obviously something we need to look at, because the data, you see the red grade suggesting that she should be getting a D in that grade. And I mean, the potential's there, but we might need to have a little think about why we're working at an E in geography.
Pupils at Hemsworth Arts and Community College near Pontefract are well used to having their data discussed. They're tracked from Year 6.
We're working with primary schools, looking at all sorts of data, including things like CATS testing, which we do in Year 6 before students come to us, and that gives us indicators as to their potential. From that, there's also obviously the other data, like the SATS results and other test results and teacher assessment. Teachers work very clearly with that data, and then they make their own assessments. And at 4 points during the year, the assessment points, teachers will give a current and potential grade or level for students.
I am going to share with you at the start of this lesson, this is your data. Now, I'm not going to show any names up there, so whereabouts you are on this list, nobody else in here is actually going to see your grades. Now, I want to show you whereabouts you are today and where you need to be heading ready for your exams in August. Right, up here you can see we've got your grade D, grade C, grade B. Majority of you are on target at a grade C. Now, the colours, this is what I look in the colours, and this is where I see if you're underachieving or whether you're doing better than predicted.
I find it really useful to involve the students in their data, because at the end of the day, it's their work, it's their results, and they need to take ownership of their work.
Now, the area of concern is in red there, which means they're 2 grades on Module 3 below their predicted. Now, what they need to do is on the resit in March, they need to be aiming for a grade C. Overall, that will then bring their current grade to a grade C, and if they go on then in June, get a grade C, they're going to be reaching their potential.
Students are starting to look at it and think, hang on a minute, I'm amber. I need to be either white or green. The students that come up and think, oh, I'm actually green, they're thinking, fantastic, I'm doing what I should be doing. If I keep working like this, I can achieve above my potential. And that's really motivating.
Hands up if you can tell me what the M represents in this one. Hands up, please.
If you've not used Excel before and you have to put formulas in, then it's very time consuming. But over time, it does get a lot easier. I only do this after the major tests. So any data or any tests I do, that's when I go back to this and put the data in. I also use my own judgment as well from classroom teaching. It's a nice, quick indication overall to see who's actually working to potential and who's underachieving. It means that I can intervene before they get to the end of Year 11 and do something about it.
The PCM on Wednesday is the most important parent consultation meeting you will have before your exams. For your parents.
This school's quite a large school, and it's important that we have structures in place to make sure that the data is used appropriately and the data is communicated effectively. So therefore we have a range of systems set up. Our data manager's been in post now for about 3 years. She's been crucial in making sure we get all that information in on time and then put out in a consistent format. The head of department works with the assistant principal on the data, and then it's his or her job to go to their team and look at what the data's telling them and what they're going to do about it.
Now, if we include from that
Lee Dainty, head of maths, meets assistant principal Ben Everett to analyse the data for Year 11 pupils and identify those needing intervention.
Hi Lee, I've got all this data from Sue. She's collated all the AP data from the kids' reports and all the stuff, and I've filtered down some stuff just for maths. The A to Gs, you've got 287 to 290, so it looks like there's 3 students who might not be getting an A to G. Do you know who they are?
Yeah, we've got names and I've got reasons for those. Basically, those 3 are long-term absentees.
Will there be any chance at all of them students achieving that?
We're trying to get them in at the moment to do some work with them to get the coursework up to scratch, but chances are, because of their absentee rate, they're probably not going to be achieving anything like a G or an F. If we didn't have this dialogue, then we'd be working in separate parts, and Ben would have his list of students, I'd have my list of students, and never the two shall meet. And I think having this meeting just kind of fine-tunes the kids we need and who we need to support further, I think.
I filtered on current and potentials and looked at the borderline students that we've got.
Yep.
These are students who were highlighted as currently working on a D or an E in some cases, but still have the potential to achieve a C. Now, What I'd like you to do, if possible, is go back to your department and find out what groups they're in, who teaches them, what the chances of them achieving a C is and what intervention we can put in place to make sure that it is a C.
Right, so you're going to alter your plans. Yeah, so you need to think about where we are now, what you've done so far, and you're probably going to be on this sheet really now, aren't you, with these dates. I would like to spend 5 minutes planning out what you need to do over the next couple of weeks, bearing in mind we've got 3 weeks including this one.
You could cope without the data, and schools have coped without data like this for quite a long time, but the advantages of having the data and having evidence-based intervention far outweigh having no data at all. It makes it a lot more effective, it makes it a lot more efficient targeting the right students, and obviously it increases your chances of success.
In terms of personalised learning, we've got a system set up here where if a student's struggling in a subject, that can be highlighted fairly easily, and then something can be put in place for that student to either achieve or, if need be, to suggest that an alternative course might be a better option for that student rather than following that path. And I think that's where the data aspect comes into play. I've preempted this meeting really, and I've done something similar to that in terms of getting the staff to, well, be accountable for what their students have got, and I've basically asked them to decide whether or not the target that they've put themselves down for is a realistic target.
Good, yeah.
And coming up with a filter system similar to yours. I've got very, very similar names.
So what we need to do now basically is see how that changes our figures,
yeah.
But more importantly, see how much intervention's needed to get some of these D kids up to Cs.
Right.
The school's heads of year consider the human factors alongside the basic data.
It's important here that we look at the development of the whole child, so it's about what we know about children's home background, what we know about them socially, what we know about the development. The head of year is crucial in actually pulling that information together, because she or he knows the big picture about an individual child and knows what that child will actually respond best to.
I've chatted with Lee about just maths in generally, and there were a few issues there. I'll talk to you about the various students. I think the students that we've covered across other sections, but have you got any feedback from any other subjects?
Well, obviously subject areas are now coming to me with coursework issues and students who need to come to extra college sessions in order to complete that in the next few weeks. So we're on board with that, and they seem to be on top of the game and quite happy with that situation. We obviously get information that comes through from Key Stage 3. We then have assessment points, and the first assessment point comes through in the first term of Year 10. And from there we look and assess students' potential, but also there's also lots of other factors that affect data. It could be attendance, it could be behaviour, it could be family circumstances. So therefore there's a lot of input from other things that affect how I would look at that data, interpret it. Because even though the data's there, other factors will affect a child's potential.
I've got the latest assessment point data from Sue, and she's put a few filters on it for me. And there's a few students that I need some input from you really. The first list is students that Pam needs to see. Now these are in two categories. The students from last term who have gone on to do well, and I think she's going to give them a bit of praise because they seem to have pulled it round. And there's another list of students who are still struggling in certain areas. You know the students better than I do, so if you can mark some points down and let Pam know, she can have a discussion with those students.
That's absolutely fine.
Pupil data is stored on the school's database for all staff to use, including the head teacher.
Okay. Right, okay, we're just going to have a look at your current and potential grades then. Yeah, okay. Now, when I saw you back in September, you were on 2.5, what you Cs currently. And all this information now is telling me that you're on 10. Currently 10 Cs or better, including your English and Maths, which is absolutely brilliant, massive amount of progress there. So I'm really, really pleased with that. Now, when we look at your grades on here, some brilliant grades there, all right, so, but you're now working at getting some of those Bs transformed into As, aren't you? So what are you doing at the moment to get those A grades?
After school classes, and I've got a Miss Wainwright for a mentor. Right,
okay, and what does your after school class consist of? What sorts of things do you do in that?
Revision of what we're doing, like questions of, like, for his exams.
Right, okay. My involvement really is I suppose you could say it's quite superficial really, in terms of I see them for a few minutes every sort of assessment point just to have a chat. Some of them need a bit of a kick up the backside, and some of them need a pat on the back, and some of them, you know, need to sort of talk about what they're actually doing.
Now currently you're on a C in games, but you could get a B, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, and that little, you see how it's amber there, that's sort of showing that you're not quite meeting your potential yet. So when it goes green it means you are, so that's a good target area, isn't it, for you to be working on.
It does give it that importance that I know what they're currently working at and what the potential is, and you know that I am genuinely interested in, you know, their achievements. And I think sometimes when they come in here you do find that they're quite surprised that I do know about them.
Currently we're on 4 C's, yeah? And you've got potential to get at least 7, yeah? But it's the maths we've got to focus on. So what have we got to do in maths, do you think? What's your target areas?
Just like general things, you know, like everything.
All topic areas. So you're not particularly struggling with one area, it's just a general across the board, is it? Right, okay. How confident, Leona, are we getting 5 plus English and maths?
Hopefully.
You'll get them. Okay, great. So I'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time. We'll have a look at what the next lot of data's telling us, and let's see if we can move you past that 5 in the next few weeks, and then you'll be really confident then going into exams, won't you? Great. Okay, thank you. See you in a couple of weeks' time then. Bye.
Integral to the school's personalised learning programme are parents who are constantly informed about their child's progress. Data plays a major role in giving form tutors an overview of their students at regular parent consultation meetings.
Because what we've got here, basically, is the spreadsheet of all our results across the board, right? So, I mean, if you look, the key ones are the red grade, which is your target grade, and then the black grades there. They're what the teachers assessed, current and then potential. So, for example, dance, suggesting she should be getting a D for the data. The teacher says she's currently working at a C and has potential of a B, so, you know, she's doing really, really well in dance at the moment. So that's really, really good. For someone like Leona, who a great kid who will work really, really hard, you know, the data is important in highlighting the areas where she needs to improve, because she'll take it on board and she'll do what she can to improve because that's what she wants. We're not trying to highlight deficiencies in their learning. What we're trying to say is, look, you're currently working at this level, where can we push you onwards? You know, where can we make you get better? How can we help you get better? And the data is used as a tool for that sort of provision.
When I first came to year 11, I were on 2 GCSEs at start of year, and I'm on 10 now, and we're not even at end of year.
So I think the main thing really is that if she was to take her exams now, she would pass them all with a C grade or above. What Danielle's got to make her mind up, is she going to go for just what the teachers think she's got at the moment? Is she going to go for those C's and B's? Or is she going to push herself that little bit more and go for the A's?
It's helped us no end. We've been able to sort of track where Danielle is, and every time anything's been sent home from school, I mean, she has letters sent home with recognition of anything that she's actually achieved within one subject, and that's been really good because they always keep us informed with anything that's going on. We're sort of saying where she is and what she needs to achieve, so we've helped her along as well. So yeah, I think that's really good.
It makes me want to push even more than what I am doing to work harder and reach higher grades. Like, if someone else is on a higher grade than what I am, I want to work harder to achieve what they're achieving.